Hello everybody, John here, and today onto the garage I'll introduce you to my new project vehicle. Welcome back, and if you're new to the channel, John, the garage, where I play, and this channel is all about tinkering around in your garage and playing with your toys. My favourite toy is my Jaguar XK8. A lot of videos and content about those. I'm into my camper vans. I've got a Land Rover Freelander 2, and over the years lots of other toys too. And I've been on the search for a new project recently. So I've been scanning around trying to find something interesting. And I got two avenues for I might have gone down. One was another van of some variety, because I do love my camper vans. I've never completely built a van from scratch, as in a camper van. So that's an itch that needs scratching at some point. Equally, I do like restoring vans, old Volkswagens, but also panel vans of the modern era. But the problem is, with the boom in the UK of motorhomes and campers, the prices of vans have really gone up. So if you get an affordable van, it's probably for good reason. And then when you come to convert it, much as I'm very handy and can make most things, there's a lot of stuff you got to buy, the items that go inside it, and they are rather expensive. So they turn into expensive projects, and that's great when you know that the item in question is going to be your camper van. But if it's just a project to do because you enjoy doing it and then something to sell on and hopefully get your money back, it's a bit more challenging these days than it ever was. So I've decided to go for another car. My tastes in vehicles are very varied. If I could pick up a cheap 2CV, that would have been something that would have been on the drive, because I've never owned one. I really like them for the simplicity, and I really fancy doing something a bit special with them. I'm very strange and I'm mad keen on Morris Marinas. You could easily have found me with a new Morris Marina, but I do know that that would appeal to an audience of about 7. This car, Purdy, is potentially my forever car. Never say never. I didn't think I'd get rid of the last one. I'm absolutely enamoured with XK8s, Jaguars in general, sports cars of the era. And I have talked a few times about, what if I couldn't have the XK8? What would I buy? What would I have bought if this wasn't available? And again, that's quite a broad church as well. I like the Datsun Z cars. The silhouette of the XK8 probably gives that away. If I was ever going to go BMW, I like the CSI, the shark-nosed saloon 2-door. I like very much the BMW 840s, so pop-up headlight coupe, again, competitor of this vehicle. I like some of the Mercedes SLs, etc. But they all have their challenges in terms of parts availability, my skill and talent, the learning curve. I love learning, but I do know a lot about this. Gary Mees has been telling me to get a Mark II Jag forever. Hi, Gary. You're better at it than I am, mate. And you know, UK Mark II, bucket of rust. So probably just a little stretch too much for somebody who's got a reasonably intense day job to come back and do weekends and odd bits and pieces. Been scouting around looking for something that I can afford, that's going to interest you guys, but it's going to interest me and really light my candle. And I have to say, before I could act on it, something kind of fell into my lap. More on that in a moment, but I have got it, and it's just over there, and it was delivered yesterday. Well, boys and girls, it's a very exciting day. I'm outside in the rain, despite it being really cold, and I don't care because I'm tracking Florin. Hello Florin, if you're watching this, who is my delivery driver delivering my precious package. And it's just 16 minutes away. And what have I bought? Well, you think about it, I've already got a Jaguar XK8 Mark 1 that I absolutely adore. So what am I ever going to do that's going to beat it? What is better than that? Well, it turns out the answer is 2 Jaguar XK8s Mark 1. This one's a coupe. Ladies and gentlemen, I present my other Jaguar. Very happy bunny. So a very quick, what is it? We got a 97 Jaguar XK8 coupe with 144,000 miles on it. It's a sport trim car with the leather pack, not the wood pack. Running 19-inch flutes, still on its standard exhausts, with a really sweet running engine, and it's had its gearbox sorted out. All good. Now, all is not quite what it seems, because there are going to be all sorts of questions spinning in your heads about how much have I spent, what am I going to do, where have I bought it from. Well, I'm going to share the story, bar a name, with you right now, and we'll get on to the what am I going to do with it another day. So you'll forgive me for having jumped inside the new Jag, where the lighting is not brilliant, it has to be said, but despite the sun, it's very cold today. And I've taken off my remote microphone kit because the battery's running low, and that is down to the temperature. So with no wind in here, the microphone on the camera will be absolutely fine. So this video, I just really want to give you the story of how I came to own this car. Now, at the time of recording this, I've been doing YouTube for a little over 7 years. Started off very much as recording some bits and pieces that I was doing on one of my vehicles in order that I could remember where the wires went. Realizing that you can put it on YouTube as a good way of storing things because it's absolutely free was a revelation to me, and also meant I could share it with some friends remotely and ask them what they thought. Recognizing how easy that was, I went on to do a few more bits and pieces, and a project that I did with my dad, who sadly has passed on since. I've got recorded for posterity, and it really starts to get into your head. Wow, this is a great way of storing your memories. And then I started getting a few subscribers. Over the years, you build up little relationships with people. You feel like you know them because you're always chattering online. And as the channel has grown, so has the subscriber base and the number of people I chatter with. And everybody who's got a YouTube channel with any number of subscribers is, I'm sure, going to tell you they've got the best subscribers in the world. But I have to say, mine are amazing. They help me out all the time. I like to think I try and help them out. And I don't have a lot of trolls and nastiness to deal with. And in amongst all that, one of my subscribers, who I started chatting with about 4 years ago, told me that they bought an XK8 and asked for a little bit of advice, and I gave that, and they were able to implement it, and so on and so forth. And this particular subscriber, a little bit of banter went backwards and forwards, but small amount by comparison with some others. And we've had several conversations over the last 4 years online, but I certainly wouldn't say I knew them particularly well. Now, this particular individual owned this XK8, but due to his work and life choices, he was sort of between two countries, spending some time in the UK around London, but a significant portion of their life is spent outside and a long way outside the UK. So the combination of not being here all the time plus London meant that the car was actually stored remotely at a car storage facility. And obviously there's expense involved in having such a service. And that suited my subscriber friend quite well. And over the years he'd done bits and pieces with his car and enjoyed it. But then two events I think have really conspired. One was that he is now spending far more of his time outside the UK. And again, when he is back, his time is shorter, he is London based, and he was paying to have somebody move the car to London so that he could use the vehicle while he was here and then take it away again to store. And the expense of the storage, the expense of getting the car moved, added to not using it very often, started to make it all feel a lot less sensible. Then the car failed its MOT. And the car's failed its MOT on a couple of things. There are plenty of advisories, but it's got a knocking front left ball joint. That's obviously not a big issue, but rather more significant, it's failed on corrosion around one of the suspension mounts at the back. And all this whilst our subscriber friend is not anywhere near the vehicle, so he can't look at it himself, etc, etc. And these things are conspired to the point where this gentleman, and I do mean that, I know you don't want to be named, but you are a gent, approached me and said, look, I enjoy the channel, thanks for your help, I've got this car, it's now just costing me money and I'm not getting the benefit of it. If I don't do anything about the MOT failure, then it is literally of no use, and you know, it's going to end up going probably to the crusher because it's not really very saleable and he's not around to do anything much about it anyway. Plus it's costing him to do nothing. Would I like to have the car? Now, I must admit that this looped in my head a few times as to have I been done over here, something wrong. But this is a completely genuine gentleman who would rather that the car went to somebody who was going to do something, anything, using the vehicle and pay back a little bit to the channel. In fact, you might see the vehicle in videos in one form or another. So that is how yesterday I was stood on my drive, very, very excited, waiting for a car delivery. So I'd paid for a service to go down to where this was stored, collect it and bring it to me. So after discussion with the subscriber in question, it's agreed that he has no problem with people knowing the story and how the car has come to be here, etc, etc, but he'd prefer that his name is kept out of it. So from me to you, sir, you're an absolute gentleman. Thank you. And on behalf of the rest of our subscriber community, thank you. Because one way or another, this is going to provide entertainment, interest, and maybe more for all of them as well. Well, there's a short introduction video, folks, to the new project car on the fleet. If you're not already subscribed and have not clicked the bell notification icon, do so, because the next video will be out in just a couple of days' time, and I'll be talking about what is the future for this car.